Well, how beautiful is this garden? This is Ilda's garden, and early spring is when it really gets into its absolute best. Look at the colour. Camellias, magnificent magnolias, and there's just colour at every turn this time of the year. Welcome to the Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochrane. We have got a fantastic program packed full of inspiration for you today. Here's what's coming up. This week on the Garden Gurus, Nige shows us a great way to grow tomatoes. We look at the story behind Humane Industries, and I treat those pesky indoor plant pests.
Dig, 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 dig in the ground. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
One of the all-time epic architectural plants on the planet has got to be this guy here, Dracaena Draco, commonly known as the dragon's blood tree. Just have a look at it. The shape is incredible. It's got this multi-branched umbrella shape with those beautiful leaves at the top. They're native to the Canary Islands, where you see them in groups, a bit like the display garden they've done here at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney. In fact, I was here last year with Dale Dixon when they were just planning all of this and putting it together, and it's beautiful seeing it in its current state. Beautiful. Now, if you want to grow one of these at home, just remember full sun with excellent drainage. Well, they don't come cheap. Big one like this, thousands. And you won't be putting that in the back of the Beamer. But a smaller one, I'm sure you can.
If you know anything about the Garden Gurus, we're all about making gardening easy. You know, you don't have to be a green thumb to enjoy gardening success. You've just got to know a few of the cheats, the things that help you enjoy gardening success. And before you know it, you'll end up being covered with a jungle all around the outside of you. Now, there are some people and some companies doing some amazing things to help people enjoy gardening success. And I'm about to share the story of Humane with you and just what a great job they're doing. Wally, where did it all begin for you?
Well, it all began when I became an engineer and worked in the government for about 10 years while I was playing cricket. And during that time, I had some fantastic engineering construction experience. Then once I got into my 30s, I thought, well, it's time to get into the real world, and I bought a business, which was an irrigation business, and that's where the journey began.
And you had a passion for gardening. It's not a coincidental thing.
No, building and gardening, I've always done a lot of work like that. I love working in the garden, and so does Kerry, my wife.
From humble beginnings, you know, things have really evolved for Humane, and you've become a national company now, haven't you?
Yes, we've got offices in all the major cities, and we're just setting up an office in Auckland, actually, as well. We've tried to incorporate, you know, some of our products into that, like green walls and obviously our irrigation systems. Everyone's enjoying them. We're quite a substantial company these days with towards a couple of hundred people employed and everybody working hard. We do enjoy looking for new ideas, new products, new ways of doing things. We think things can be done a lot better. There's a lot of areas in the garden that can benefit from modern technology and perhaps new ways of doing things.
You're taking products and actually trialling them in your backyard. Having a look around your backyard, it's a bit like the Humane Museum, isn't it?
Yes, there's one of everything here, Trevor, that's for sure. The first fundamental, Trevor, is to make it easier to use and make gardening easier for the customer. Things like garden lighting, which I started installing back in the 80s, actually, garden lighting, but in those days it was all 240 volt. But now, you know, with the 12 volt LED plug and socket system, that's just like Lego, and it's fantastic.
I wanted to share this story with you for a very important reason. You see, gardening doesn't have to be hard, and there are products that have been designed to help you enjoy gardening success. And the companies that develop these products, well, my experience is they are driven by people just like Wally, people with a commitment to excellence. So please remember, the next time you're in a garden centre or your local retail store and you see a Humane product, it's a 100% Australian-owned, it's a family-owned company, and they have a real commitment to helping the smart gardener.
You know, I think Mother Nature was really showing off when she created bromeliads because they're such unusual and beautiful plants. In fact, these attractive flower bracts are so long-lasting that they make a great alternative to cut flowers.
If you're thinking of planting a living hedge in your yard, there's a couple of secrets I'd love to share with you. Number one is plant selection. This Viburnum tinus, also known as Laurustinus, is an excellent selection. It's a fast-growing shrub that stays dense and bushy from the ground up and gives a lovely display of flowers with a minimum amount of pests and diseases. But the most important factor here to achieve ultimate success is the planting density. When putting in a new hedge or a screen at home, always plant 3 plants per metre. It might sound too many, but it will create an excellent effect in the least amount of time, and the plants will love it. The next important trick I want to share with you is how important it is to feed our plants. We need to apply a controlled slow-release fertiliser every 5 to 6 months. This has the ability to double or treble the growth rate of our beautiful hedge. Within 18 months, your living hedge can look stunning. And this is a variety of plant that lends itself to be grown from cutting. Tip cuttings, 10 centimetres long, taken in mid-spring and planted in coir peat, will develop roots in about 6 to 8 weeks' time, making this not only a beautiful looking hedge, but an economical one as well.
They come in all different colours, textures, flowers and forms. The wonderful world of cacti and succulents are an excellent starting point for the first-time gardener, but they can also be a lot of fun for the experienced enthusiasts. Back when I first started in horticulture, I was obsessed with buying and collecting succulents and cacti, and this is just a small portion of my collection here. And on a rainy day like it is today in Melbourne, they still grow really well. You just need to know the right steps to care for them, and I'm going to show you how. Most varieties love to be grown in a warm, sunny position in the garden. In cold climates which are exposed to heavy frosts, keeping them under cover or in a greenhouse is ideal and will prevent any damage to them. Even though these plants have a tough appearance, they still love to be cared for from time to time. If you keep them planted in containers or in pots like mine, they will still require watering. They require more water in their growing seasons, which is spring and summer, but not every day. Also check the soil before watering. Poke your finger into the pot to feel if the soil is wet. If dry, water away. Another tip is to use a slow-release fertiliser developed just for these guys. They don't actually like a lot of nitrogen. Too much nitrogen can cause weak and stunted growth because a lot of these varieties originate in an arid landscape where they're not used to being exposed to large amounts of nutrients. So using a slow-release fertiliser is a really good idea. When potting, I like to use a layer of horticultural charcoal at the base of the pot, as this helps to keep the overall hygiene of the soil in tip-top shape. I like to use a succulent and cacti-based potting mix as it has a bit more sand in the medium, making it more free draining. I also like to use bonsai stones or fine river rocks. I use this at the base of my pots to help with draining away any excess water and for a layer on the top for decoration. Succulents and cacti are a great way to liven up an entertainment area, and they can be an eye-catching display at all times of the year. Or they can be another addition to your plant collection. So why not try giving them a go and seeing what you can create in your garden?
Well, this has to be the hottest trend in offices and homes right across the world at the moment. Indoor plants, bringing plants indoors to clean the air. It makes a lot of sense, but of course, problems start to arise. Pests are a major one. And the last thing you want to be doing is spraying insecticides all over the place to try and control pests. But you do have to treat them, because if you don't, they'll get out of control like crazy. In fact, take a look at this. This fiddly fig is probably one of the most popular indoor plants you'll find around, and this is probably one of the most common problems with them. And the leaves are becoming sticky because these little long-tailed mealybug are sucking on the sap, and then they move across the surface of the leaf, creating little sticky layers as they start to spread that sap around. Now, when they build up into big numbers, they can cause severe setback. This is a China doll. This is one of those beautiful Rhodamaturas that is just wonderful indoors under normal circumstances. The mealybug are getting into this in a big way, and there's also some aphids up here on the new growth. So how do you treat it? This is what I would have normally recommended, but they have recently been banned. This is a little tablet, and you pop the tablet into the soil, and it's absorbed up through the roots, in through the sap, and all of these insects, which are sap suckers, are then basically poisoned and controlled. The only problem is this has been discontinued. There are a lot of garden centres still around town that have these, and my recommendation is get your hands on them. They are a really good way to control. The only other way to do it is to use a systemic spray. This is the one. This is Baythroid Advance. It is a very good way to control them, but the last thing you want to be doing is spraying chemicals around indoors. So my recommendation is take them outdoors and give them a spray, let them settle down for a couple of days and then bring them back. Controlling pests indoors, vitally important. The way you do it, it's up to you.
Sweet potatoes are one of the easiest vegetables for the home gardener to grow. Unlike normal potatoes, sweet potatoes are grown by tip cuttings placed directly into the soil in early spring. The tubers are ready to harvest towards the end of autumn. But the foliage is delicious in a stir fry at any time of the year.
If you're out and about in garden centres at the moment buying seedlings, you'll need to be thinking about these little bugs, and you'll be seeing them if you're looking in your veggie patch. Of course, snails are really common this time of the year. I've got the Holy Trinity here. I've got the coastal snail, the common garden snail, and the green snail. This one is the one that the French love eating. I'm not sure whether it's my type, but nevertheless, it's been eating my favourite veggies, so it can't taste too bad. The common issue is if they're in your veggie garden, they are a serious potential problem. And the big issue is the treatments for them. Now, the product you use to control snails normally in a home garden will be these things, snail pellets. But I've got to tell you, the active ingredient chemical in this is deadly, particularly to pets. You do not want your dogs coming in contact with it. There is no cure once they've consumed them. Even worse is us coming in contact with them. Why would you spread a chemical that is so dangerous around food plants only for you to consume them? Now, the problem with this is it stores in your fat tissue in your body. Now, in small amounts, you might not notice it straight away, but it's a big problem when you get sick and you start using that fat because it releases all of those chemicals back into your system and can make you twice as sick. So I would be recommending you avoid these. One natural cure for slugs and snails of all types is using copper or bluestone and spraying it around the garden's edges and over the plants that are affected. This is a naturally occurring mineral, and snails have absolutely no tolerance to copper, so they're quickly brought under control. Now, whilst I know that snails and slugs can be a little bit annoying in the garden, the truth of the matter is they actually do a lot of good. They eat a lot of the old leaf litter, and that turns into fertilizer for your plants as well. Unless they're going for your leafy vegetables, I'd leave them alone, or maybe just pick them off one by one. It's a lot safer way to go. You should be avoiding chemicals at all costs.
Our soils are warming up now, so spring is a great time to plant. Now, plants are most vulnerable when they're young, so a little bit of care before enjoying planting can go a long way towards settling plants into the garden and getting them off to a great start. Whether your soil is a tough clay or a nutrient-depleted sand, compost is the way to go. And I always dig plenty of it through the soil before planting. Now dig a planting hole as deep as the root ball and roughly 2 to 3 times as wide, loosening the soil around the planting zone. I also like to give the plant a good water in the plastic pot first to make it easier to get it out of the pot. Now, the plant's also going to need a little bit of nutrition to give it a good kick along. And sometimes you just want a really easy way to feed your plants. Well, it doesn't get much simpler than this. Simply pop a Triforte plant tablet into the planting hole, about 150 millimetres below the soil surface and 50 millimetres away from the root ball, and let it go to work. Triforte all-purpose plant tablets are jam-packed with slow-release nutrients and coated with beneficial microbes that actively work on your soil, creating the perfect environment for plant growth. Now, plant tablets are the easiest way to give your plants a measured dose of nutrients that will last up to 8 months. And they can be used on all plants, both young and mature. And at planting time, they help to reduce transplant shock and give young plants the best chance to thrive. Always water new plants in straight away to help settle the soil, remove any air pockets and give the roots a good drink. Applying water also activates the microbes in the tablets, so your little microscopic helpers can get to work in your garden soil. I also like to put down a good layer of mulch, just help to conserve moisture and suppress weeds.
This has to be one of my favourite fruit. It's completely weird and unusual. Now, let me find you one. This is what it looks like. It's called the custard apple, and it does look really weird. It gets its name because the texture of the flesh is very much the same texture as custard. It tastes amazing, and it's a great addition to any fruit garden. After the break, more brilliant gardening advice right here on The Garden Gurus.
When you see blooms like this, it's easy to see why orchids have become an object of fascination and obsession. Through the ages, these stunning blooms have been at the heart of stories of betrayal, smuggling, greed, even murder. Today, these enduringly popular plants are the perfect choice for providing a splash of exotic and long-lasting colour in the garden. When I see a display like this, I'm always taken by just how diverse Cymbidium orchids are.
Well, that's the thing, Melissa. I mean, people always think Cymbidium orchids are just your upright orchid you put in a pot that your grandmother had, but there's a variety.
And the cascading forms are just amazing.
Well, they are, and the thing is, our most popular orchids here are the cascades, because they lend themselves to people who have a shortage of outdoor space. They're easy to hang on your pergola, they're easy to hang just on awnings of the house, and that's why people love them. And also the colours, bang for buck, the best thing you can buy.
All right, so you bring either one of them home, any Cymbidium. What is the perfect spot for them?
Somewhere sunny, somewhere where they don't get too much water, preferably undercover if you've got an area like that, so you can control the watering of them. We always recommend in winter not to fertilise too much because that can interrupt the flowering for them. But then in summer, it's the other way around. Give them a little bit more shade, more water, more food, and that's it.
You know, one of the things I love about them is that they are a little bit exotic looking and mysterious, but does that make them hard to grow?
Not at all. And that's the thing we always try to express to people when you purchase these things. They're easy. Just ignore them in winter.
Oh, I love that.
It's the best thing to do.
Well, Marco, thank you for all your tips. I just want to take them all home. Is that all right?
Absolutely. Take all of them.
One of the great things about climbing plants is that you usually don't need a lot of room to grow them, and by that I mean room on the ground, because the idea is that you get them to grow up and climb, and there are lots of different ways you can use them. In nature, climbers grow on host plants like trees, but in the garden, they need a support structure like a fence or a wall or pergola, or an arbour like this that's supporting this dragon fruit. Bit of a funky customer, but the fruit's sensational. You can build your own structure out of bamboo, timber, lattice and the like, or you can grip and grow. These tomatoes were planted recently, but I'm going to do away with these bamboo stake supports because I've got a much better system, and just wait till you see how easy it is. Push it into the ground and you're done. Where things get interesting are when you need a larger, taller frame, as you often do as your plants grow. The back section of the frame here folds out and up, and then you just join those two together with another one of these spiral connectors. Just wind it on, and there you go. And basically you can add more and more frames and go as far as the eye can see. You can run them close to a fence or a wall, or just have them freestanding. The ribbed bar here provides additional support for climbers and gives them something to grip onto as they spiral up. And these hook ties are also good for additional support for the climber. They can be placed anywhere on the frame, and they'll really help hold the vine in place. And the wing design gives extra structural support, which is perfect for some of your bigger fruiting climbers like your eggplants and your cucumbers. And in fact, I reckon these are strong enough you could easily hang some nice melons off this. Made from durable galvanised steel for a longer life, Grip and Grow is robust and durable enough to reuse year after year. All of the Grip and Grow frames are not only really easy to set up, after you harvest, they can be packed away until next season, year after year. Now, as well as the fold-out frame, there are a few others in the range. There's the spiral stake here for spiral staking. You've got a smaller version of the wing frame, and over here, we've got the curved stake for any curved staking you might need to do. The grip and grow, it's too easy.
One question that I'm getting asked about all the time is there's something wrong with my lime tree. Now, you'll know that, that's a Tahitian lime, but so is this. And some people are really concerned that their Tahitian limes have gone yellow. Well, guess what? They're meant to do that. When they're like this, they're full of more sugars, more nutrients, more goodness for you, and they taste absolutely fabulous in your G&Ts, where these guys have been picked just a little bit too early. Anyway, that's your last bit of advice for this week's show. Don't go panicking about these, and don't go panicking about not seeing us, because we're back next week with another brilliant episode of The Garden Gurus. I'm Trevor Cochrane. Can't wait to see you then. Well, I don't know if there's anything more special than springtime in the garden. And when you find a beautiful little setting like this, you just get out in the sun, it's just so good for you. Hi, I'm Trevor Cochrane. Welcome to The Garden Gurus. Our job is to help you create settings just like this and to make gardening easy. Here's what's coming up on today's show. This week on The Garden Gurus, Bonnie shows us a clever way to deter pests in the garden. Nige looks at attracting bees, butterflies and insects using bug houses. And I share some tips to planting seedlings.
Dig, 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 dig in the ground. I got my spade, I got my hoe, I got my rake, and I'm ready to go.
I'm at the Royal Botanic Garden, Sydney, and what a spectacular place this is. Perfect for a stroll, relaxing, and of course, to get some garden inspiration. And this is the new Southern African display, and what a sight it is, full of incredible plants. The Southern African region includes Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Swaziland, and South Africa. And even though it's only a third the size of Australia, it has more plants than all of Australia. And look at these. You've got the cycads. This one here is the Eastern Cape Blue Encephalatus horridus. Need I say more? You've got the cycads, the daisies, all the succulents, the aloes, the proteas, the leucospermums, the leucodendrons, all really well suited to growing in Australia. But here's the key. North facing here, lots of sun, and because it's all on a slope, the drainage is fantastic.
Now's the time to be picking seedlings up from your local garden centre. As the soil warms, the starter plant's roots will grow quickly through moist soil and establish well. But if there's one problem some people have, it's the roots being damaged and the young seedlings dying before they could even get started. There's a couple of great sheets that I'm going to share with you when it comes to getting the best results out of your seedlings. The first one is make sure you squeeze the cell punnet on each side of the seedling. Just keep doing that and you won't risk tearing them apart. That's a really important thing if you want to get the very best results. Make sure you do it with every single one so that you don't have any losses at all. Another thing that definitely has significant benefit is soaking your seedlings for a minute or so in a bucket of sea salt solution. The seaweed is well known in assisting plants to recover from any root damage that may occur, and at the same time it stimulates new feeder root growth.
The aloes are an amazing genus of plants native to Africa, many of which from South Africa. The most famous, probably aloe vera, with its incredible medicinal properties. But this here is the big daddy of the genus. It's Aloe barbarae, the tree aloe, which has recently been named Aloidendron barbarae, the dendron bit meaning tree from the Latin. Now, they do really well in Australia because we have similar conditions. If you want to grow them, they're really easy. You've got to have lots of sun and, really important, very sandy soil with good drainage.
How many times have you gone out into your garden and seen the tops of your fruit trees or even your hedging plants chewed? I certainly have, and keeping those late night visitors out of the garden can be done with a few non-harmful tricks. If you have a garden fence or post, you can mount this guy. This is the prowling owl deterrent. This has a 1 metre wingspan which moves and flaps in the wind. If you don't have a fence, it can also be mounted or hung from a branch. Another option is to use the freestanding owl. The bobblehead owl is best positioned in the garden where it's exposed to the wind, and the head is activated by the slightest gusts and doesn't require any batteries, so it looks like it's rocking out to some good tunes as it scares the critters away. If you have an area in the garden that is receiving a lot of action, the motion sensor owl and solar owls can be positioned to face the affected areas. Both of these will emit a hooting sound, and the eyes will flash if they detect any movement to stare down those night prowling plant predators. Last season, I had a lot of issues in my vegetable garden as I had a number of culprits that loved my veggies. I had the local black wallaby, rabbits and parrots breaking in. The laser solar owl is ideal for this part of my garden. It has a 120-degree field of view sensor angle and has a 3-metre working distance, so it's going to cover a lot of ground. And it doesn't require any batteries because it's solar powered. All the owl deterrents in this range are weather resistant and lightweight, and for the best results, keep repositioning them every 4 to 6 weeks in and around the garden, as some pests may start to realise that those owls have been sitting there happily in the same place for a very long time.
Seaweed has played a major role in promoting strong, healthy plant growth right throughout history. Its effectiveness is unquestionable. But the reason behind why it works so well was a puzzle to scientists for many years. Today we know that seaweed is rich in a synergistic range of natural compounds. Trace elements, alginates and bioactive compounds all working together to promote strong, healthy plant structure. Another wonderful attribute of seaweed is its ability to feed and encourage soil microorganisms. When we consider that a handful of healthy soil contains over 1 billion of these vital living organisms, it only makes sense that we want to feed and nurture them. Their role is to break down the organic material in the soil, changing its composition to a more available food source to the plants. Sea salt is a natural seaweed plant tonic that is embraced by commercial growers and home gardeners and is organically certified. It consists of a blend of some of the finest kelps from around the world, all of which are grown and harvested sustainably. Simply mix 30 ml of sea salt into 9 litres of water and apply every 2 to 4 weeks. By applying sea salt regularly, your plants will develop a greater tolerance to environmental stress, such as heat and drought, making it the ideal way to prepare your garden for the stresses of summer. Other benefits that you'll notice is an increase in fruit and flower production and a boost in your plant's immunity system, helping them fight against insect and fungal attack. If you grow fresh organic vegetables at home, sea salt is ideal for growing healthy, nutrient-dense food. And it's great to know that sea salt can be used on any plants in the garden, including your natives.
Dogs will be dogs. They will sniff, chew and dig around in the garden. And you may agree with me when I say that we love our gardens, but as soon as we bring a furry friend into the mix, it can be a little stressful. So having a good plant selection and doing a bit of research is really important to make a happy place for our dogs. Don't you think, Charlie? If you're bringing a young puppy into the family or have an older dog, securing a small area that can be their space can be done by using gates or strong fences. If your garden is already secure and you only have a small space but wish for that lush, colourful garden, it can be done. Knowing which plants to stay clear from and have is really important. Always being aware of the plants that we have in our garden is one of the first steps to creating a happy medium between our love of plants and the love we have for our pets. Unfortunately, most bulbs are no good for our dogs, especially if they love digging around in the garden. To avoid any accidents, digging these up and placing them into pots is a really good idea. And keeping them out of reach is one way to keep our pets safe and a way for you to still enjoy the flowers. Some other plants that are best to avoid in the garden are things like cyclamen, azaleas, foxglove, lobelia and even kale. But there's a lot of fantastic resources online, and even our local veterinary clinics can provide you with helpful lists on poisonous plants for our dogs. If you have a garden filled with established plants or seedlings and do not have the option of moving them, you can try planting dogbane. Most dogs hate the scent of this plant and will keep as far away as possible from it. Planting these near poisonous plants can be a form of deterrent to help train our dogs to stay clear. There are also repellent products on the market to encourage our four-legged friends to avoid going in areas where we don't want them. When it comes to choosing plants, always double check before planting. If you want some colour, you can plant lavender, pansies, or even salvia, and they're all safe for our dogs. Gardening can be a lot more fun when we don't have to stress about our pets. And you never know when your favourite plant might become the latest tasting platter for our dogs. So, having a safe garden for them will keep us smiling as well.
This has to be one of my favourite plants in the garden. You might be looking at it thinking it's a pawpaw. Well, it's definitely a member of the pawpaw family. This is what they call a barbaco. It originates from South America. You can see the fruit as it ripens, it turns a beautiful golden colour. It's called the champagne fruit, and it is incredibly good for you. One of the things I love about the whole pawpaw family is that if you eat them, they improve your digestion, so they help you get over indigestion. In fact, the flesh of this is used to tenderise meat. And when you cut it open, just like this, you can see on the inside, it's just a beautiful white creamy flesh. Now, it's the flesh you eat, have it with ice cream. It is absolutely delicious. And the reason I grow barbaco and not pawpaw in my garden is because we're just a bit too cold. So this variety is great for colder regions. Well, this is a very special time around my swimming pool area in the garden at the moment. All of our agave attenuata, the foxtail agave, have come into flower. And you can see how they get the name foxtail. It's a big, long, flowering stem that looks just like a tail. Interestingly enough, the way this works is the plant produces these flowers every 5 to 10 years, and then the mother plant dies off. But every single one of these flowers will turn into a little seed that actually germinates on the stem and will be an individual plant. You can imagine there is going to be thousands and thousands of them. And this only occurs usually once in a decade where I live. So it's a pretty special time. Agave attenuata, the foxtail agave, incredibly water-wise. They come from South America and they're a great addition to any garden.
When it comes to growing plants, we can grow them directly into our gardens, but if you want to get optimum growth or extend the growing season or even grow the weird and wonderful, having a greenhouse can provide us with these benefits and many more. But just like choosing a plant, we're spoilt for choice. So how do you know which greenhouse is the best one for the job? This here is a hobby greenhouse, and it's a great starting point if you're just starting out in gardening or looking to invest in your first growing house, and it's very budget friendly. They've been designed with a slide and lock assembly system with 6mm UV protected polycarbonate panels and have a 14mm deep channel. All the greenhouses come with lockable doors, so none of your prized fruit will go missing. And another nifty feature is that they have this guttering system, so you can collect your own water and store it in your water tanks off-site and use it again at another time. If you're looking for something that will take your gardening game to the next level, the premium greenhouses are designed to be a feature in your garden. If you get cold winters with snow or live in a very windy climate, then the Imperial or the Orangery series are perfect. The Imperial series is neat and strong, all thanks to the aluminium bar capping glazing system, so there's no need for PVC strip locks or any silicone channels. And panels come in many options. The aluminium frame can be powder coated in either black or white to best suit your garden. I love this classic English look of the Orangery range. Back in the mid-19th century, these structures were used to conserve a number of different citrus trees during the cold winter months. But these days they are very popular because of their elegant appearance and decorative features. They have a strong aluminium grade alloy frame, which is corrosion resistant. This is the king, the best of the best. This is the Grange series, which is a commercial grade independently engineered greenhouse for your backyard and for commercial growing. Now, the frames are made from this box aluminium, which makes it a lot stronger compared to the other ones that you get off the shelf. And the paneling here is a 10mm twin wall polycarbonate, and it can take winds up to 150 kilometres per hour. So it's made for Australia's toughest conditions. I try to keep my greenhouses organised and tidy. Individual stands are a lifesaver to achieving a bit of organisation. During the winter, it's likely we bring plants that need protection in and out of the cold. The rewards of having a greenhouse are countless, but one of the biggest is being able to grow a diverse range of plants all year round. So you really can't go wrong with a greenhouse in your garden.
Landscaping often involves lifting some big gear, things like rocks or logs or heavy materials, and that can be really tough going on the body. But with the Kanga, which is like the Swiss Army knife of machines, you've got the log grabber to do the work for you. This really is a great bit of gear that not only makes life easier, it means you get the job done more quickly and avoid potential injuries, and we like that. A beautiful feature on the grab attachment is the 90-degree rotating mechanism, giving you the freedom and precision for picking up and placing through vertical to horizontal action. The 3 tines mean you can pick up virtually any object you like, and it can handle an impressive 120 kilos. Like all of the 60-plus attachments, line up the loading bar, gently lift and connect the hoses.
This plant here is called Philotheca, and it's an Australian native plant, and as you can see, it has this beautiful display of flowers at the moment. So it flowers from late winter right through the spring months, and it's highly bee attracting.
Spring is a time when plants really rocket along, but unfortunately that means the weeds too. And if you don't get on top of them early, then they can quickly get away from you. Now, it's much easier to pull your weeds when they're young because the root system is still small and you can easily get them out of the ground. And if you can, I like to wait until after rain because it makes it that much easier to pull them out. And once your beds are weed-free, nothing keeps those pesky plants at bay quite like a good layer of mulch. Spring is also the perfect time to lay down some mulch before the onslaught of warmer weather. I like using the organic mulches like straw because they conserve moisture and suppress weeds, but they also break down over time, and in doing so, add lots of yummy goodness to your soil. In areas that you're looking to plant or just reinvigorate, try top dressing the soil in early spring with a good layer of compost. It's a great way to add a bit of goodness to the soil in areas that you don't want to dig or disturb. Everywhere you look at this time of year, something is bursting into growth or flower. So your garden needs a good dose of plant food to support that frenzy of activity. But don't just look for a fertiliser that just feeds your plants. Look for one that takes care of your soil too. These little prills work magic on your plants and soils. Triforte M All-Purpose contains all of the right nutrients and up to 60 natural minerals to promote healthy, vigorous growth, loads of flowers and fruit, and generally get the best out of your plants. And the beneficial microbes in the mix go to work quickly on your soils to create the perfect environment for plant growth. The result is better colour, better flowering and better fruiting. You'll also see improved disease resistance and more dry-tolerant plants because it's creating healthier plants with bigger root systems. And you just watch those earthworms move in. Simply sprinkle it over your garden beds and mix it through the topsoil. Then water it in to activate the microbes. And the beauty is that you only need to apply it every 5 to 6 months. And if you want to give your garden that little bit extra, apply some Nutriforte liquid plant food to your garden every 3 months too. It complements the granular food and pumps more organic nutrients to the roots, feeding both the plants and the beneficial microbes. Now sit back and watch your garden and soil come to life.
I love my birds and I like my bees too. Many of us don't realise how important bees, butterflies and insects are to our lives and how reliant we are on them for our food. Tragically, their numbers are in serious decline due to pesticides, parasites and climate change. But we can help them with organic gardening practices, planting flowers and providing them with shelter. And your very own bee, butterfly and insect kit. In the garden, bees, butterflies and beneficial insects play a vital role in pollination, transferring pollen from one plant to another. 70 of the top 100 most popular food crops are pollinated by bees, and they pollinate 80% of all flowering plants on Earth. The bee house can be hung in a tree or just placed in the garden. Now, don't panic. We're not talking your mad African killer bees here. The house is designed for Australian native solitary bees, many of which are stingless. Included are these seeds for all sorts of flowering plants that the bees, butterflies and beneficial insects love. Plant these around the place and watch your new winged friends arrive. It's a beautiful thing. It gives a whole new meaning to Airbnb.
Well, that's it for this week's show. I hope you enjoyed it. You know, the Garden Gurus is all about making gardening easy, and it shouldn't be hard. If you want any more information from today's show, all you have to do is simply check out our website. You can download videos, get fact sheets, or maybe read an article from our online magazine. It's that easy. Now, the other thing you can do is ask gardening questions. If you become a friend on Facebook, we will answer them for you. I'm Trevor Cochrane. We'll see you next week for the Garden Gurus.